Hello everybody, you know me, okay, no you don't, but you know who I am. I am Issa J, and alongside me, as always,
is your Small Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Champion of Picking Things, Liam Landry.
Yes, and we are here to do an episode of Was It Worth It? Live. Our first Was It Worth It in quite some time, Leon.
Yes, quite some time.
Yes, so we ended up watching NXT TakeOver WarGames yesterday. Mm-hmm. So we're here to give you our review, our thoughts, and our hot takes on the show. Alright, so some of our thoughts are vastly different. Some of our thoughts are vastly different than a lot of people's, apparently. So it's going to be a very interesting, maybe even controversial opinion on a takeover. So let's get started. The show starts proper with the women's war game match. That right there should tell you it's going to end happily. At least that's what it did for me. It's like, I guess the faces are going to win here. But we'll get to that in a bit. It was Team Rhea Ripley, which had obviously Rhea Ripley. It had Tegan Nox. It had Candice LeRae, and it was supposed to have Mia Yim, but because of injury and in kayfabe an attack on the pre-show, Dakota Kai is the fourth member, and then we have Team Baszler, which is Shayna Baszler, Io Shirai. And then we had Bianca Belair and also the NXT UK Women's Champion, Kaylee Ray. Also to point out,
not to be confused with Kaylee Ray.
Mm-hmm, or Kylie Ray.
Kylie Ray gets Kay Lee Ray. Kay.
Right. And was the NXT Women's Champion for NXT is of course Shayna Baszler. So, it starts off with Io Shirai and Candice LeRae, and you'd think it'd be like a good back and forth, but that's not exactly how it went down. The majority of it was, in fact, Io Shirai getting all of the offense in. And then when Bianca comes in at second or third, it's just making Candice look very, very weak, unfortunately. Then we get the team captain Rhea Ripley to come in. After that, she grabs some weapons, and then Kaylee Ray is next. So especially if you're really into the storylines of NXT, you know that Dakota Kai isn't really having a positive time at the minute. She is supposed to be the third woman in. However, she turns around and batters Tegan Nox. And she pushes, what's his name? The manager, William Regal. She pushes William Regal. Everybody is upset about that. But yeah, Dakota Kai has turned on Tegan Nox. So both of them are out of the match entirely. Shayna Baszler comes in, and then it becomes a 4-on-2 War Games match. Your thoughts on how it all went?
So there's a lot of stuff that was very predictable about it. Mm-hmm. I felt, even without having to watch NXT weekly, it kind of became predictable. The turn, not necessarily win, but that it would happen, and that once it did happen, it pretty much sealed the fate for the face team as the ones going over. So I kind of lost some interest there, and it was good action, for the most part. But mm-hmm. It's like it's not so much you can do. You're very limited in your what you can do because it's like multiple people. So it's like you either have them beat down or just like some little spur of offense. So it's very limited from what they have that they can really take advantage of. And I also make you think that once you get to the ending, you haven't. I don't know if you wanted me to talk about that since you haven't.
No, yeah, you can go for it.
Yeah, when you had the ending of Team Rhea Ripley winning, it number one, takes a lot of the air out of the heel turn because it meant that it didn't actually have an impact, and it also just kind of really demotes an entire team of women, and including 2 champions. So it's very confusing idea. I mean, maybe they could have just had like be as we go with the rules apparently as they are. They probably could have maybe just gotten another partner to come in, but I don't know, questionable stuff. But it still had some good action overall. I guess mostly a lot of good beatdowns, good selling of things. I think out of it, Io probably looked the best to me.
She looked really good in a lot of her transitions and a lot of her high spots too.
And Kaylee looked good for selling at least. I don't remember much major offense that she got, but for her selling, she was looking good. So.
And I thought Bianca looked the best she's looked in a long time.
Yeah, but I was always a big fan of Bianca.
Yeah, I know you were.
And with that, I guess that's like what we could talk about when we were saying we had different opinions from like a lot of people. A lot of people were, I guess, like really blown away by the heel turn, number one, and also I feel like a lot of people were thinking that from what they said, a lot of people were thinking that the face team wasn't going to go over, but I was like, it seemed like pretty standard WWE booking at this point that the face team, when faced with adversity, is the one that's going to go over. So it's like it became very predictable at that point, and it, like I said, outside of Io and some other stuff from some of the other women, it didn't offer too many major moments.
Right.
It didn't definitely offer a lot of stuff like we look forward to, like a lot of back and forth and competitive wrestling.
Yeah, I did not.
It was more of like a David versus Goliath type storyline, which we don't like. That's not what we
that's not what we look for in our wrestling.
No.
Francesca actually watched the show with me off camera and stuff, and she was saying how she did not like how Candice LeRae was beat down for the first 8 minutes of the match, and then her team ended up winning even though it was a 4-on-2 disadvantage. She was not a fan of that, and I can completely see her criticism on that.
Yeah.
It definitely was a
You kind of made Rhea look at the equivalent of 4 women.
right. So if she has a match against Shayna Baszler and does not win that title, she kind of looks a bit weak.
It's a very flip-floppy, kind of like the Charlotte destroying Bayley, only for them to have a more competitive match later on.
Right.
It would be a very flip-floppy thing, and it's like, and I mean, to an extent, I guess a lot of people would go and say, "Oh, it was a very surprise victory," and it's like, yeah, to an extent, but I don't know. It's not like a last-minute roll-up type deal or situation. It was definitely Rhea getting the upper hand on Shayna and beating her pretty legit.
Right.
And which is even worse because Shayna was the last one in there. So she didn't even have to she took a lot of beatdown earlier. But then that was a smart thing for both matches. They had like the top champion who was also going to have a Survivor Series match, not be the first one in there, but be the last one in there, which I felt like was possibly a small nod to them wanting to preserve themselves.
Orange Cassidy is so funny. Wow. Okay, we're also watching AEW Dark right now, and they just had a really funny moment with Orange Cassidy. But what was the last point you made?
But I was just saying, like, I felt like maybe there was a storyline going where
Mm-hmm.
the top champions who were gonna have matches at Survivor Series were trying to keep themselves fresh for that
Mm-hmm.
to the extent that they could.
Well, we'll get to Adam Cole a little bit later, but yeah, overall, was the first ever women's war game match worth it? Let's give the fans out there, let's give the people listening our thoughts on that.
I don't know, I mean, outside of questionable booking decisions, and the fact, like, we'll go and say, you have to sometimes look past what you're a fan of in wrestling and just judge it fairly on that. And I would say judging it fairly, I would still say it's worth it. And if there's other people who don't like, who do care for like a David versus Goliath style matchup, then they could like this and enjoy this match.
Especially with the heel turn.
Yeah.
For people who are unaware of the storylines or unaware of the a couple of the other booking moments that are around in WWE, and you're not just, this person's going to do this. Oh, they're going to win because of this. It's going to be a really fun match for you. So I definitely say it is worth it. It had a lot of good moments and a lot of cool high spots. At the end of the day, not exactly our kind of match, but it was still good. It was still a really good match, and overall, still worth it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, just on that cup of tea.
Exactly. So let's move on to the internet's favorite match, apparently. It is Damian Priest taking on Killian Dane, taking on Pete Dunne in a triple threat match. For me, this match was very slow. It put my dad to sleep, and I've seen Killian Dane in a war games match. I've also seen him in singles matches. This man can move. Pete Dunne is a bruiserweight or a cruiserweight who likes to fight. He can really move. And that goes to the number 3, Damian Priest. I've never seen him before. And this match did not sell me on this man at all. It was very slow. It felt like all these men were moving at -5 speed. I said off camera earlier. It was not my favorite match of the night at all. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. Damian Priest definitely seemed like not in sync with the other guys in there.
Mm-hmm.
There was, some mistiming, that they had to try to cover on commentary. But it was like, a little sloppy there. Overall, it was good. I kind of feel like this was a lot like I felt with the match with Shawn Spears versus Joey Janela, where I felt like, this probably just should have been on AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Like a regular AEW Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this probably should have just been on this past week's NXT.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a takeover worthy match. I mean, I know that it must be like thin because they have to do the 2 war games and also try to preserve people and injuries and everything. So, so that I'm sure there's, problems with there, but it's like, especially with like, even when you think like the weight behind it, number 1 contenders, that seems like a regular episode, like a main event of an episode. And even just the fact that it was very obviously going to be Pete Dunne, because the other guys do not have enough clout right now to be put in front of a WWE main roster audience and really get their attention. Someone like Pete Dunne would at least have some more name recognition, maybe followed by Killian Dane, who people would be like, oh, wait, that's where he went to? Just thought they were gone. So it was, once again, another time where it was like very obvious. But I also feel that it was still good. They did try to come up with some creative spots.
Mm-hmm.
Some worked, some didn't work. I didn't like the Killian Dane stumbles up to break a pin.
Mm-hmm.
From Dizzy is like, that's a little cartoony, I felt.
Where he was like in the ropes selling, and then he just fell backwards.
Yeah,
even though he was still knocked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also didn't like the fact that afterwards the ref wasn't counting, even though Pete Dunne's shoulder was clearly laying on top of Killian Dane.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that was a little goofy. They probably didn't need to do that one, but they had some other good spots in there.
Right.
I'd still say it wasn't like not entertaining, but it was probably not maybe these guys' best work. And like I said, it was lower stakes and a more obvious finish. It felt like maybe more regular NXT. But like I said, they were stretched. They needed a little more filling out for matches because of Ross's troubles and all this that they needed. So I think it was still good overall. If I would actually said something I would rather have a guy who was actually there, wouldn't you rather see like Killian Dane versus Walter? That would actually be.
Or a triple threat match with Imperium, because two other guys were there. I think that was Fabian Eichner and I can't remember the other guy's name.
It wasn't Wolf, I know that.
Yeah, Alexander Wolf wasn't there.
Yeah.
But it was the other guys. But I don't remember who that guy is at all. But yeah, I'd much rather see them three tag team in a 6-man tag match. But
I would even rather have seen Pete Dunne versus Killian Dane. Because like you said, it felt like Damian Priest was slowing things down. And when I thought of sloppy things that happened, it was like just Damian Priest seeming out of time and out of sync with the guys.
Right. He reminded me of Randy Orton if Randy Orton was slower.
And had worse timing. Because I mean, that's why Randy Orton's saving grace is his timing.
Yeah, he has amazing timing.
This one, you know what they do a lot with takeovers is they polish it in house shows. I remember one where they had
wasn't it DIY versus somebody?
It may have been DIY. It was a major tag team match from one of the TakeOver Brooklyns that everyone loved. But the thing was, it's like, man, I already saw that match. It was it was in one of the house shows, and it's like, and that's one of the things they do is they polish it at house shows, and that's why it looks so good when it comes to takeovers. This one was one that needed to be polished,
right?
But was not, and it showed. It kind of showed. So even to that extent, it felt more like a regular TV episode. So not bad, but not up to the high standards that NXT has had.
Especially for their takeovers.
Yeah. Takeovers had much higher standards.
Oh, if you're looking at this particular match in a bubble against other takeover matches, especially if you got to witness, whether live or on TV, TakeOver New Orleans, it was just really difficult to get through. So, and like I said, Pete Dunne winning. For the most part, that's the obvious choice. Two very big Triple H guys getting a high-profile match is obviously what's going to happen for an NXT show. So the thing is, I also didn't really like the finish at all. It was kind of a bit wonky for my taste. But overall, was it worth it? With all of the amazing takeover matches we've had in the past, especially the last match we talked about, how even though it wasn't exactly for us in particular, it was still worth it. I have to say no. This match did not live up to the hype everyone was giving it. It did not, for me at least, and it did not live up to the standard takeover matches have already set, especially in NXT New Orleans. Or TakeOver New Orleans. So, in my humble opinion, no, it wasn't worth it. What were your final thoughts?
But final thoughts. I remember when we do the was it worth it? I had a different category of saying if you're gonna watch the show, skip it. It just kind of depends on just how much time you have to dedicate to it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a bad match, but if it's like short on time, just skip over it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're gonna lose much from it.
Right.
Because it's like I said, regular kind of NXT show. So that's kind of where I would put it. So I would say that's not worth it. It's just not worth going out your way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not a one of those standout takeover matches, mostly just because of the polish. Like even compared to the last one, it definitely had more polish in there, and it felt more like a takeover
Mm-hmm.
match, even though
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't the style we liked. Kind of like I guess you could say in almost in the vein of Walter versus Tyler B.
Mm-hmm.
Not what we liked, but at least it was polished.
Right.
It was well
Right.
done. This was not as polished. It wasn't bad. You can never say like it was bad. It was just
Mm-hmm.
like if you had a kid who got all A's, but then they got a B on a test.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that.
Right.
It's like you're not living up to your standards. Your standards
Mhm.
are A's,
Exactly.
not B's. Should come away from Takeover saying that every match it was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
And it's not our fault for wanting that, since that's exactly the standard that they have given.
and I want to make sure we don't establish any heat, because I know
Mm-hmm.
we also said that we were watching AEW Dark, so
Mm-hmm.
so to try to defend and make sure that people don't think that it's biased. Do you understand? I also said that it was related to, that it was very similar to one of AEW's matches from their last pay-per-view, which I felt could have also just been taken off the card and should have just been on a regular week. So I
Mhm.
felt that almost the same way about it.
But which match was that?
Sean Spears versus Joey Janela.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that match was very much so.
It wasn't.
Didn't need to be on a
Yeah.
pay-per-view.
Yeah, so I felt the same way, about this one. So I want to make sure, because it seems like anytime anyone says anything negative about something, it's because they're in
Mhm.
the tank for something else. And it's like, no, don't say completely fairly.
If for my take, I absolutely did not care for Spears and Janela at all.
Mhm.
I thought the match was super short and it did absolutely nothing for me.
Yeah, and I would also say this would probably be considered worth it if it was on a main roster pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been more up to that standard,
Right.
because they don't
Heck,
necessarily
it'd
get
be
the time.
it'd be even a little bit better than their standard.
They don't get the time to polish things, so it doesn't feel out there. But like it's just saying, when it comes to something like NXT, you have to hold different standards than
Mhm.
main roster, just like you would hold different standards for New Japan or
Mm-hmm.
AEW. You have to hold them to the standards of what they do normally.
Exactly.
So
So yeah, because of the standards, this match for this particular show, not worth it.
mhm.
Now let's move on to the I was about to say tag match, and that's not true. It's a singles match between the Prince, Finn Balor, taking on the original Bro, Matt Riddle. Really good back and forth. It started off
That
slow.
was a really good strike sequence. I don't know if you saw that. With Big
Mm.
Swole.
I missed it a little bit. But it started off pretty slow on the mat, and then Finn got a lot of offense in. Basically, big boy Matt Riddle taken to task by much smaller Finn Balor. However, once Matt started getting in some offense and it was going more back and forth, it was actually a really entertaining match. It just didn't start as back and forth as I particularly like. But what are some of your thoughts and takes on it?
It did have a slow start. I didn't think they needed as much of the headlock as they did. And with it, it was an odd storytelling idea of having, legitimate fighter and mat wrestler Matt Riddle, being on the mats. Now I'm always one to be against the idea of like looking at former UFC fighters and being like they're super amazing in the ring and beat everyone, because I think it delegitimizes the concept of professional wrestling. If you're gonna say like, well, they're legitimate fighters, it's like, yeah, kayfabe, they're also legitimate fighters. So it should be even. But if you have one guy saying like, this is Matt Riddle, like you're not gonna like. I'm trying to think of, but if you have like Booker T versus Kurt Angle, Booker T is not gonna go around and pound Kurt Angle, because that's their established things. And even if it is just two people who are just pro wrestlers, you're not gonna see, unless very rarely in having storytelling opportunities, you're not gonna see like you're gonna go around. Like the only times I would think of is say like Sonata versus Zack Sabre Jr. Yes, because Sonata or Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. because both guys wanted to meet Zack on the ground, and they actually had storytelling implications of why they went out their way to do that. It's just a weird storytelling options. You really should just have it be like Finn, he's number one cheating, number two keeping distance, keeping it away from there. There's a lot of storytelling options that lead for that. And for any of the Finn Balor matches I've seen, I've never seen him as a mat wrestler. So it's a weird take. It was a weird take. So,
but once it started getting going,
but it was good. It was good overall. I felt it was an odd idea to go that route, but it was still good overall.
Yeah,
and a good last minute replacement because of Gargano's injury.
Yeah, and I really liked when Matt started actually getting some offense in, especially with the spear jackhammer combo. I thought that was really cool. And every single time, even though he was able to hit his signature moves, he had them scouted early on, and it wasn't until later where Finn was actually able to hit those moves.
Yeah, so it's a good storytelling things and selling and stuff like that. It was just a weird story concept to go with that route.
And then finishing off the match with a 1916 DDT, I thought that was really cool. The way Finn Balor made it look really devastating.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So it was a better match overall. Just like I said, weird storytelling option there, and a going slower at the beginning. But beyond that, it was. I thought it was good. I thought it was worth it.
I did too, and it was worth it, and I really want to see them actually have a proper feud, Finn and Matt. Maybe not in a week or so, but a couple months down the line, the next takeover, let them go at it again. I think it'd be really, really cool and really good. And I'm upset that the really awesome person did not get the win here, because I think character-wise, she's way cooler. Can't believe they made her tap. That's so sad. But anyways, let's move on to the final match of the night. That's right, only 4 matches this show, and it's the men's WarGames. We had Undisputed Era. They are, of course, Adam Cole, Baby.
For a second there.
Who?
You?
Me, I guess. Era. My
family are from the banks of Lake Era.
But yeah, Adam Cole, Bebe, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and Roderick Strong, and they're taking on Team Ciampa. And it is Tommaso Ciampa, obviously, with Dominic Dijakovic and Keith Lee with a mystery surprise fourth team member, and we'll get to that in a bit. So it starts off with once he makes his entrance, just going straight to the ring, doesn't even talk to his teammates. Tommaso Ciampa does. So he's starting the match, and then Roderick Strong comes in, and he doesn't want to go in, and I really like this spot where Tommaso just gives him the crutch. He grabs the crutch, and he looks like he's about to use it, and he does the perfect heel maneuver and just tosses it, and you never see the crutch the rest of the match. I thought that was brilliant. And
this is kind of similar one from earlier, the women's, with the
table. Yeah, so they start off the match. Then, because Adam Cole won the advantage, in comes Kyle O'Reilly. After that, Dominic Dijakovic enters. After that, Bobby Fish. And then Keith Lee makes his appearance. Last person that we know of, Adam Cole, Bebe. And then on the announced team is like, oh, I guess WarGames has officially started 4-on-3. So I guess whoever pins and submissions are illegal now. And the clock runs down. No one goes all the way to 0. Undisputed Era is left. It's like, there's nobody there. No one's coming out. Boom. KO. Kevin Owens. He's the fourth team member for Team Ciampa. He comes down. And when it comes to the best facial expressions in the game, they cut to Adam Cole, and he has the perfect, oh my gosh, what is he doing here look on his face. A lot of back and forth going, and way better storyline told than the women's, in my opinion. So much more back and forth. Your thoughts on this match, good sir?
I would say I also thought that maybe have a little weird, a little bit too much back and forth. Not in the sense that going back, but it's like it was weird how they transferred for like 4 guys all being on the ground to like 5 seconds later the other 4 guys on the ground. It's like it is kind of like really weird transitions about how fast it goes. It was good overall. I felt that it was weird. Like for the rules clarification, like I think they should have had clarification of the rules, because I mean, of course the commentators would have known, but it's like they could have gone out and said, like they spent like both times they had the WarGames, they announced the rules to it. They could have put in there something to kind of cover, because it's like, is it legal? Because I felt like, hey, earlier, Tegan Knox down, it could have just gotten any other woman to make a run out there at that time. It would have been in the same vein as Kevin Owens now. And so that was a little bothering to me. I don't like it when they just manipulate rules for different reasons. I understand why they do it. But overall, it was very good.
Definitely match of the night.
Yeah, definitely match of the night. I really enjoyed it. I thought that good action in there. Maybe a questionable stunner cell from Adam Cole. The old pop up. I never liked the pop up. I was like,
So when Francesca and I were actually watching it, and he did that, Francesca goes, "Oh my gosh, that was an interesting." So he just goes straight up and just planks. And she goes, wow, apparently that move knocked him out silly. I thought it was super, super funny, which is never a good thing when it comes to selling. But, yeah, definitely questionable, but still not as stupid as The Rock.
Yeah. That's another big difference between us and the internet. But yeah, it was like I said, very good overall. No actual real complaints. It was just a little, I would have rather them clarify things, but there's no real complaints. It was very solid, good action in there.
And I did really like how it ended, where First one, Roddy goes through the table. Then Frog Splash for Kyle O'Reilly through the table. Then Bobby Fish gets power slammed through the table. And then that maneuver off the top of the cage through 2 tables to win the match was interesting. So I thought that was really bloody cool of how it was just table after table after table after table.
Yeah. So yeah, it was an interesting fact to now debut the guy.
Mm-hmm.
The guy we falsely believed was
in that package, he looks just like Brian Cage.
It was looking like it. And it was looking like Melissa Santos as well, the wife, along with the ones. Like it was hard to tell. It was dark.
Mm-hmm.
There was a break. He even had a scar on the same.
Good thing we didn't say that on camera.
Yes.
But yeah, back to the match. I had the time of my life. I would have much rather my boys Undisputed Era winning, but I understand why they lost. It does make sense for future storytelling purposes moving forward. However, loved the match. I thought match of the week so far. And yeah, your final thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was a real good match of the night, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
It was very entertaining. I would say probably not the strongest of the WarGames matches, but it was still good. Like the other WarGames matches were really, really good, good and really great. And I felt like more often than not they had better build up to it to make a lot more cohesive units. But you know, it's all the same. It was very good though, and really enjoyed it. I think it was definitely worth it. People should go check it out.
100%.
Like the only downgrade was that one match that we felt they probably didn't need on the whole night, and then everything else was good. So
yeah, definitely worth it. 100%. And let's move on. Overall, even the triple threat match not being the best, yes, this show was worth it. Go out and watch it. You get to see your first ever women's WarGames match. And hey, it might actually be the type of match for you. And you get to see a fantastic men's WarGame match. And a lot of fun in between stuff here and there. But overall, would you say the same?
yeah, I would say the same. Worth it overall.
So, yeah. And to wrap up, we're just going to sign out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let us know if you thought WarGames was worth it in the comments down below. After that, please give us all of those sexy, sexy likes.
At the end, sexy ones.
Once you do that, please share this video and all of our videos to your friends.
And enemies.
And then, because you might as well, subscribe to the channel. That way you are a part of the Smarky family. After you do that, go and ring that notification bell because...
Why don't you get notified when we go live for our podcast shooting with the Smarky family, every Sunday. And also get notified for when we go live for pay-per-views, like we're doing tonight for Survivor Series, and other times for AEW and maybe some other companies in the future. And just get notified when we put videos or info, or polls, anything out there.
Yes, and we will be going live in a few minutes for our podcast, like Liam said. Then we will be going live again for our predictions video. It's just going to be the two of us predicting today because our fellow compadre DJ is not in at the moment. He won't be in for a little while. And then for Survivor Series, he will be here to react with us. And yeah, it should be an interesting show. Whether it's good or not is still up in the air, but it should be an interesting show. And we'll see how much continuity goes to the show with Undisputed Era going through tables. So yeah, go to Twitter, please, and follow me on Twitter at IsaJ_STP.
Follow me on Twitter at Liam_SWA.
And yeah, thanks again so much for watching. We'll see you in a little bit for Shooting with the Smarky Family, episode 54. Until then, and until next time, it will be awesome.
Bye, everyone. Bye. 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 Don't hate us too much because we had criticism of it.